That's a real catchy tune. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. You know, it was Kenny's birthday yesterday too, right?
Yeah, he's a fellow Capricorn.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
job. Happy birthday there, Kenny, aka Smeghead.
yeah. Absolutely, and
Delicious.
working on his Canadian citizenship, I hear. So
Yeah, he's up there in the Nordland up there. Cripes, it's cold.
yeah,
Molson. Okay,
yeah,
that's the only Canadian I speak.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I believe he's in Toronto. So, happy birthday, Warren. How are you?
Thank you. I feel good. I'm a glorious 29 years old, uh, but my body is 78. So I'm somewhere in the middle mentally. So I think that's what's going on. How you doing, my man? You doing okay? Are you
Um, Other than laundry being done right now, I'm okay. Got up a little late, but I'm better late than never for the. Well, I mean, we're on time, but I was, I was a little worried about being late for my live stream here. So,
Man, you are always you were the consummate professional, my friend. See, I thought I was we were talking before. I thought I was going to be late because I had some bugaboo issues, and but I got them figured out in the nick of time. And then and when I got in there, you were only just like about a minute later. So it's kismet, it's karma. I got Mount Titty behind me. I gotta, as a Titty Mountain Park ranger, I have to take care of the facilities and make sure everything is nice and erect, especially when it's cold. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is Mount Titty in the background out there. I know that mountain.
That's Pilot Mountain for all you non-dirty minded people, but it does look like, oh, it's a little chilly out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ooh, point. Sorry. I don't know if that's this kind of show or not, Willie. I'll behave myself. I think this is the first time I've been on here, right?
Oh no, I think this is let's see. I've been on your show several times. I'm trying to think if this is the second. No, this is the third time you've been on my show.
No, it hasn't. You're lying. Stop.
You were on my
lies.
show in 22. You were on my show in 23. And I'm trying to think if you were on my show at all. I don't think you were on my show in 24 at all. I'm trying to
That's what it was. I wasn't on last year because you were boycotting my shirt. I wouldn't stop wearing the shirt. And you said, you motherfucker, if you don't stop wearing this shirt, you can't come on. I'll say, and then I made an earthquake. Sorry. Anyway, I'm okay. How are you? I'm fine. Don't listen to me.
Warren, I got some good news for you. Additional good news. Apparently, the sound and video is going well at the moment.
Oh, cool. Okay, yep. Sweet. Thank you. All you fine folks. Hey, I know all these people.
Yeah.
That's your famous chat line. Exactly. I've heard the legends of the Willy Bragg chat line. So,
yeah. Commissary Kate, wish you also a happy birthday.
Well, thank y'all. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate you. Y'all just sweet as sweet taters.
I meant Miguel. I'm sure I saw his thing pop up and I had it on her column there, but I'm sure she wishes you a happy birthday too.
Willie, so Miguel, it's all right because see, I'm a little bit stoned right now, and you may be getting a contact high through the interwebs because that is possible. I've seen it on TV.
Yeah, there you go. You can say I'm high in spirit.
You are. do. The more you know. Okay, I'll behave myself. I'm sorry.
Oh no. This is where we don't behave.
Oh, really? We're not taking any. Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, this is not a highbrow show, contrary to what people may believe.
What? Of course it's highbrow, but sometimes you got to slum it, and then that's when you get me on. That's when you get in the dirt and get all nutty and silly.
I mean, look at my title, Willy Bragg, Dirtbag Leftist. That says it all.
Exactly, just like mine, Titty Mountain Park Ranger. Although I haven't filled out the paperwork officially, and I don't think I'm even getting paid for this gig. But I tell you, the fringe benefit, look at that. If you're a titty man, and who isn't, well, this is the job for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially over there in north of Winston-Salem,
Wait a minute.
Titty Mountain.
Oh, that's
They
nice.
call it Mount
Ooh.
Pilot on Andy Griffith.
That's right, the little historical perspective there, if, especially if you're entertainment perspective, in history. Did you ever see any of the Andy Griffith Show, sets or anything like that? Do they still have those around? You said there's a town, right, that's set
There,
up?
Mount Airy is it was always the town basically it was based from. So what they did is they just decided this is the fictional town of Mayberry, and so you have a couple of the trappings of Mayberry there. You know, you'll have a Floyd's barbershop there. Floyd is no longer there, of course. You know, yeah, you know, things of that nature. You have a mock courthouse that's supposed to be, you know, like from the show, that sort of thing. But otherwise it looks like any other small rural town in North Carolina.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I remember, down south, like, back in the '70s, we had a very tiny police department in our town too, so we kind of, could I don't know, when we watched the Andy Griffith Show, it was just like, "Hey, that's kinda like our town." So, you know, I guess that's what made it so special back then. It was like it was funny, but, you know, but at the same time, it's pretty wholesome too, and it's hard to pull that off. It's hard to pull off wholesome and legitimately funny, because I mean, Don Knotts, and Andy Griffith, those guys who just played off each other, so well, and then the side characters too, that just made it just great, you know.
Actually, there is a Deputy Fife character here over in Mount Airy, and I was like, you're still working for law enforcement here? He's like, yeah, not bad for an old guy. You know, he did that. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did it pretty well.
Nip it, nip it.
They still got the bullet in the in
The
your
bullet, I was gonna say he had the one bullet in his shirt.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
They don't make things like that anymore, Willie. Now it's all like, you know, AI and lasers and, you know, shit like that, and bibbity bops, and Gen X, our generation turned 60 this year. The first Gen Xers are turning 60 this year.
Yeah. Sam Cedar and Jimmy Dore, both born the same year. They're going to become. They're going to be. They're going to be both 60 this year.
I was telling people, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, y'all need to watch out, because these Gen X grandparents are going to be wild and out. We are not boomers, y'all. We still got some energy, and if we don't, we'll just eat some sugary cereal like we did back in the 80s, and then, you know. So these grandbabies for Gen X are in for a wild ride, and I feel sorry for their millennial parents or whoever it is. Who is it? Like, is that how it works? Like Gen X would be Gen Z's grandparents, right? Is that how
Mhm.
that works? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we still got the rock and roll wild energy in us. So
Yeah. We
yeah,
have the best music. Come on, man. Then this shit today, the
yeah.
mumble rap and then the bad haircuts.
We got
Come on, man.
got the cramps. I mean, that's Generation X for sure.
Thank you, Lucy. I love you,
Yeah.
sweetie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You had Taco putting on the Ritz. But then you had, like, I mean, you had music all over the place. It was just like this colorful, like, palette of just music types, right? You know, you had, like, your punk was still thriving, and then even like a little taste of disco was still hanging around, but you always had rock and roll. You always had uh and some funk in there too. But then the 80s music, the new wave stuff started coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. But
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, this music, boom, 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 man. It was just like, we were just like swimming in riches of
creativity.
music. And we still
Every
had a little taste of the 60s in there too. So there was some of that, and the classic rock stations in the 70s and 80s and 90s kept all that music alive too. I think we got exposed to the most amount of music as a generation because of that.
yeah, I would love to go back. I mean, if we could all just go back without Ronald Reagan in there, go back without Reagan, cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I always I'm into these alternate history shows that on YouTube, right? You know, like the what ifs and stuff like that. And I often think, you know, what if, you know, Hinckley, you know, succeeded, right? And what would have happened? So you get George Bush Sr. in 1981. So how does the country change under Bush in 80? Do you think, because I have the sneaky suspicion that Bush was running shit all along. So I think if Reagan was out of the picture, it really nothing would have changed. What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
think we would have ended up with Michael Dukakis as president in 1988 under that scenario.
You think so?
Bush should have been reelected under the sympathy of Reagan getting shot, but that would have worn off, and Dukakis would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, so you're saying Bush would have served 2 terms and the Dukakis would have came in 88.
Or whomever the Democrat would have been, you know, at that time.
I really, you know, because that kind of changes the game, right? If you got Bush in there, you know, Mr. Ex CIA guy, you know, because, and like I said, you know, Reagan was a cowboy actor, right? I mean, and he had very good charisma with people, but I mean, who else do we know like that? You know, Trump is the same way. He has very good charisma with people, but he's not a brain. You know,
Definitely not a brain.
Those people, and somebody said, well, you know, Elon Musk is such an innovator, and these guys, it's like, no, man, they surround themselves with innovators. They pay innovators. They aren't innovators, they're paying innovators. That's how shit works. And
Well,
it's just like, you know,
what do you think of Elon Musk getting friendly with a neo-Nazi party in Germany called Alternatives for Germany?
Yeah, AFD, man, and that party over there is wild too.
Well, yeah.
They were part of that coalition that knocked out Olaf Scholz, right? They had to, or because it was like the AFD had to. I think they had to work with some other like leftist groups in order and to form some coalition. I don't know.
Yeah, well, think about it is he and the female leader of the party basically said Hitler was a communist. You know, I mean, really? I mean, but that kind of historical revisionism drives me crazy.
I want to know how he was a communist, because
he persecuted the damn people.
Yeah, he persecuted his own people. He did the exact opposite of communism. That's what fascism is. That's why communists hates fascism.
Yeah, he persecuted the Social Democrats and the communists, and he put them in the concentration camps.
Yeah, I mean, it is revisionist history, right? I mean, look at the neo-Nazis there in Ukraine, right? And then the U.S. support for Ukraine. I mean, that's not a coincidence. Like, oh, there happens to be Nazis here. Who knew? You know, because we had George Daddy George's daddy, was it Prescott Bush? You know, who was in league with the Nazis.
That's true.
Before we went to war with them, and you know for a fact that he knew exactly what Hitler was about. That he was he thought he was some crazy guy that he might be able to manipulate and make some money off of, and then, well, you know, turns out he was pretty fucking evil.
Even Joseph Kennedy, the original patriarch of the Kennedy family, had pro-Hitler sentiments.
Yeah, that's all that elite shit, man. Yeah. They wanted him to tear up Europe, you know, and they probably wanted to drive Europe into the ground. And they thought, okay, well, after that we can rebuild, and we can make a fortune off of like rebuilding their infrastructure and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any proof of that, but I'm a cynical asshole, and that's what if I was around at that time, that's exactly what I think would have been going on, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, all this and all this thing about fascism and all of that. And actually, a kind of great way to start the first video. Shall we do that with a throwback from the past?
All righty, good sir. I'm ready to go.
Okay. I've actually played it. I think I played this last night on Facebook, and yeah, in fact, I did. It's the let's see. Let me find it right here. It's called Right Wing pardon the language. It's called Right-Wing Pussies, Left-Wing Pussies. Who's pussier? By the Amazing Atheists. We're not highbrow around here. Okay.
You guys, that right-wingers are a bunch of fucking pussies. Like, I always see this shit all over Twitter. We need to label Antifa a terrorist organization. Oh, they're a terrorist organization. Yeah, some emaciated faggot with a bike lock or a fucking pipe is a terrorist now. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. When I was growing up, you know, a terrorist was someone that, like, blew up a fucking building or some shit. Now it's some fucking college queer with a milkshake. What? What? Terrorize them? You fucking pussies!
A milkshake.
Oh, no. That's not the real terror. The real terror is Mexicans. Oh, no! A brown person! Oh, hold me! Hold me, Donald! Hold me! And yeah. Liberals are pussies, too. Liberals, leftists, progressives, whatever they want to fucking call themselves this goddamn week. They're a bunch of pussies, too. But at least they own that shit. At least a liberal pussy knows he's a liberal fucking pussy. I mean, after he complains about how the term pussy is sexist, even though it's not, it's derived from pusillanimous, which is not a gendered thing at all. But what the fuck ever? Oh, it's offensive. It's offensive. Oh, I'm so offensive. I'm so bad. But at least a liberal pussy knows they're a liberal pussy. Conservatives always got to wrap it up in some macho bullshit. I'm no fucking pussy. I don't care about your feelings. Fuck feelings. Transgender people are trying to use the bathroom that they gender identify with. What? What? No! How can this be? Why? You blew it up! You blew it all up, America! Antifa's a fucking terrorist organization, yeah. How many people have they killed again? Oh, yeah, none. They haven't even killed one fucking person, and I'm supposed to buy that they're this terrorist organization? What? I mean, I know they haven't killed anyone because if they had, we'd never stop hearing the fucking name of that victim. I heard Andy No's name for like 2 weeks straight on social media, and all that happened to him was he got a little roughed up, nowhere even near killed. I mean, Antifa must be the fucking laugh riot of the goddamn terrorist meetings. You know, Ahmed, how many infidels did you slaughter this week? I killed 10 infidels. You know? And then Antifa like, I threw a dairy product at somebody. If Antifa are terrorists, then they are the pussiest terrorists ever. And it stands to reason that the pussiest terrorist could only terrorize the pussiest pussies. What does that make you?
Yep. I mean, it's very relevant still.
Well, didn't words or violence come into the vernacular a few years ago, and then they just ran with it. She's like AOC is like the Taylor Swift of politics, right? So she'll say something like shit like that, and everybody on her little cult followers will be like, "Words hurt," and yeah. So you know, we're the rub some dirt on it generation, you know.
Of course, according to AOC, words are violence.
Yeah, words are violence. Words hurt, right? It's like, no, truth hurts is what she's trying to say. But she said, oh, those words that you're using to relay the truth, they sting because it's truth.
You see, I'm conflicted with her because on the one hand, when the right attacks her, it's not that I would defend her because I support her. The only defense I would have of her is when they attack her, the attacks are based on bullshit. She deserves criticism, harsh criticism, but the only criticism of her that's valid is from the left. None of it from the right is valid.
Right. Yeah, from the true left, right? We're not talking about the liberals in the liberal left. And that's the thing too, there people trying to muddy the waters, calling everybody in the left, like everybody like liberals and like Joe Biden communist and shit like that. That stuff needs to stop right now. Seriously. That is just nonsense. That's not true. Then if a hammer and sickle touched those people, they'd burn up like vampires. You know what I'm saying? They're capitalists to their bones, right? Remember our drunk Nancy told us that shit?
Yes,
right?
they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Where the fuck this guy see? And that's where this, it's what do they call that? Well, it's bullshit. Just like trying to get people to think that, oh man. So everything, like even like if you and I are talking about socialist type programs like free healthcare and free housing for people and stuff like that, they're like, ah! Their head splits open, the monster comes out and says, "Come, you're the devil," because that's what they've been taught.
Yeah, exactly. And by that metrics, that would make Margaret Thatcher a socialist, and we know she was not a socialist.
Right.
I mean, for all her faults, she did not get rid of the National Health Service. So
that's amazing, and she was a tyrant too.
She was fucking evil. She was evil.
Yeah, she was Reagan in drag, basically. I mean, probably a lot worse than Reagan.
Well, there was more to get rid of in the UK. But I think the reason she didn't get rid of it is she knew what the American nightmare would be like, and she knew it would end their fucking government real quick. That was probably a bridge too far. They knew you fuck with the National Health Service, that's the end.
Yeah. It reminds me of this tweet. Our buddy Brendan Circus is over there on the tweeters. It was like this quote out of somebody. I think it was from somebody in China that said. He said, why do you eat the way that you do with no free health care? Right. So, because we're sitting there like, eating like there's no tomorrow and we don't have free health care. And it's just like, what are you doing? It's like you're gambling the mortgage money and you're going to lose. Right. But you're having fun for a little bit while you're playing the game. And then, so, I don't know. How are we going to get free healthcare in this country? Willie, how are we going to get people out in the streets and get people to change shit?
I just don't think we're going to ever get it. I mean, that's the thing right there. I mean, the healthcare, the profit motive, decade after decade, prove it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and we've been patient. Even a pandemic, where your job's tied to your healthcare, if that's not enough to sit there and for people to demand healthcare for all. And then it went to the point where Luigi did what he did, and I just don't think we're going to get it. We're never going to get it.
I tell you, and if we would have, all he had to do was do an executive order during the pandemic, either one of them, Trump could have done it too. Mm-hmm. They both, Trump and Biden, both said "fuck you, America," right? And had they done that, maybe that CEO. Might be still amongst us, right? I mean, that kind of totally changes the game when you got free health care, or at least Medicare for all, practically free, right? It wouldn't be like totally free, would it?
It was taxpayer funded, and maybe you pay a small fee under Medicare for all, and maybe and you're obviously going to pay for your meds. I mean, even in the UK, where it's probably most free in the capitalist world, and it's comparable to the Cuban system. In a lot of ways, is probably the most free of anywhere, in that level. And, you're still paying into it, tax dollars wise, or whatever, nothing, right. But it's guaranteed.
But yeah, like it's, the goal is like, if something happens to you, God forbid, you want to be taken, getting an ambulance, taken to the place, getting treated, get everything that you need to get well. And then when you leave, they said, instead of saying, here's the bill, they say, all right, stay safe out there. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, well, how are we going to pay for it? And then you just want to smack those people. You're like, well, how are you paying for everything else, right? How are you paying for almost $1 trillion in the military budget, right? And it pays for itself too, right? Especially if you're able to go and get like, checkups and stuff like that. I don't, I ain't going to get no checkup. I ain't going to pay no copay just to get a fucking checkup. But if the shit was free, I probably would go have a checkup. And then you have healthier Americans. And let's look through it for capitalist eyes for just a second, right? You got healthy Americans, you have healthy workers. You have healthy workers, you have more production. You have more production, you make more money. So why the fuck don't we have free health care? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is a lot of the jobs would come back because labor costs is really wedged into the healthcare costs, medical inflation. You have free healthcare in this country, some of those jobs will come back. It costs more to have a factory here in the United States open than it does to have one open in Canada or in France. That's because of the healthcare question.
Yeah, we should be producing our own food, non-GMO. Us individually should be doing that anyway, but we should have. I would, if I was the president, I'd be like, you know what? If you want to have a home garden where you want to grow your own food, the government will kick in some money, help you get your garden started, right? Get you some gardening supplies, get you some fertilizer, get you some non-GMO seeds, because fuck them GMOs. I don't care if they say they're safe or not. I don't want any robot, Walking Dead seeds, right? I want some regular ass seeds. Let me do my thing with it, right? And that's what the government should do. Like, here, all you homeless, you living under a bridge, look, we got a place for you. You can stay there as long as you want, but we got some guaranteed jobs for you too. You don't have to worry about food. Boom, boom, boom. There'd be so much. Oh man, God, it would be so great. So why are they holding it back?
Because their priorities are mixed up. That's why.
But I mean, they're still making a boatload of money. I mean, is it just the goal to just? I think the goal is to just drive people into the ground and have a 100% subservient society for all these new planned cities and stuff like that, where everything is connected and you've got cameras everywhere, and it's just like this Judge Dredd dystopian corporate owned everything society. That's where they're trying to drive it. And humanity be damned, because they know AI is going to be able to do half the jobs on the planet within the next 5 years alone. And then how technology just exponentially grows by 10, 20 years from now. The AI and all that shit may be just running the show. And here we are, sitting in the Chase lounges with drinks with umbrellas in it, and a sandwich, like, all right, what the fuck are we going to do now?
It's basically a high-tech neo-feudalism is where we're headed toward.
Yeah. And then, God forbid, those the robots turn on us, Matrix style. That's I'm on. That's why I'm nice to toasters. I don't throw electronic equipment. I'm always nice. Like my little phone here, and I'm like, you're sweet. I love you, even though the CIA is spying on me right now. Well, now you're naughty. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. I mean, our phone conversations are being monitored, and every keystroke on the computer, they know almost our very thoughts and everything. When you think about it, it's really kind of scary.
Yeah, all those algorithms and stuff. You could click on some rando video on YouTube, and then you go to the next page you open in YouTube, you got like 30 suggestions for that rando shit. And it's just like, and that's not, and you think they're keeping all that information in-house? Hell no. They probably got feds working at YouTube or at Alphabet, amongst them. Right.
I heard that there is some huge facility in Utah where all of this is stored. Every email, every text message, every phone conversation you can imagine, every ways of communicating with people is stored away, and they have it tracked on every one of us. I'm thinking we're talking about trillions upon trillions upon trillions of ways that every person in this country could imagine communicating with each other. If this is what they're doing, how the hell can they store all this shit? And how the hell can you find all this shit? I would think it'd be difficult to try to pin something on someone doing this.
Willie, I don't want to scare you, but when they're also using quantum computers, right? And now a quantum computer is not like the computers like you and I are using right now, right? These are just some regular ass computers. You could have like the best supercomputer, like the one that plays chess, the IBM thing or whatever, Big Blue or whatever it's called. That's nothing. A quantum computer will be able to like crack every kind of encryption known to man. You're not going to be able to hide everything. All the secrets are going to come out. Your secrets, my secrets, everything is going to be out everywhere. That's what scares me, is who's going to be controlling these just insane devices, which were had benevolent beginnings for those things, for research and stuff like that, and it's able to compute at a insane speed like that. But of course, the ne'er-do-wells get a hold of this technology, which they have, and that's why I'm not a Luddite, but I don't want to do a whole lot of like keeping my information in the digital ether, because I know eventually it's going to come out. Everybody knows I'm a pervert because I advertise that on my website. But, I don't want, but there's other people that's just like, oh shit, it could be just some benign shit, but then it's just so embarrassing from that level to, launching nuclear weapons and shit like that.
Yeah,
that's what scares me.
Yeah, my God, they can find out what kind of porn that I tend to Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willie, you would be the first one, but you're proud of it. Stop it. You brag about it too. That's why you're Willy Bragg. See, hey, look, it's snowing, everybody. Look at this nipple behind me. Where is it? Right there.
The snow a couple of days ago was a joke around here. It snowed a little bit, and then in the morning, it was like nothing. It was just gone.
We got the snow. We didn't get a lot of snow, but you combine that with like, single digit temperatures over here, the snow doesn't go away, it just turns into ice. So, that's we have to be careful when we're walking around here, because like there's ice patches and stuff, and you've heard of black ice, right? And
I'm familiar with black ice,
which I'm not talking about my porn name, ladies, which you all definitely know, but I'm talking about the actual stuff on the sidewalks that if you step on it, whoa, and then the cartoon noise happens, and then you're going to the back doctor, or you break your coccyx, right? Your tailbone. Oh, you ever done that? You ever slipped or something, fell on your ass bone? Oh, that just hurts your feelings.
That feeling, yeah, I know that. I am very familiar with that.
Yeah, that's just mean. Right, that's just like a cruel way, because it's just like and then because you're trying to sit down and you're like hi, and then you got to get the donut out, and then people make fun of you. It's just a whole scene, man. You don't want it. Nobody wants that. It's terrible.
No. So, but anyway, let's see. Maybe we should probably should get to the well, actually, we're talking about this AI and information sharing and all that, and that connects with national security.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should that should bring us to the next video at hand. It's for Nico House. It's a short one. It's let me find it real quick. And
you king of segue.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard, looks like what little bit I liked about her is disappearing. She manages to disappoint. She's no longer the Tulsi Gabbard of 2019 is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So
definitely right.
Yeah, let me scroll it back to the beginning here, and we'll get started.
Tulsi Gabbard backtracks her stance on warrantless surveillance after the Senate threatened to refuse to confirm her as DNI. As most of you all know, Donald Trump shocked the world when he selected Tulsi Gabbard as his future director of national intelligence. Despite people's disagreements with her on all sides of the spectrum, the truth is a lot of people were actually excited thinking that this could be a positive change for the intelligence community, finally. But unfortunately, if recent developments are an indication, we just look like we're going to end up getting more of the same. Tulsi came out and announced during a Senate hearing that she will actually support Section 702 of FISA. In an egregious violation of the Fourth Amendment, Section 702 gives the government the ability to engage in warrantless spying on American citizens. Section 702 is such an egregious violation of American civil rights that Tulsi Gabbard herself authored a bill in 2020 before she left Congress to get rid of 702.
Unfortunately, Congress just passed a bill that will allow the continuation of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to infringe on the civil liberties of the American people. Now, the Patriot Act and the FISA Act, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, needed to undergo very real reforms if these constitutional abuses are to be prevented in the future. I'm working on legislation and we'll be introducing it that will do just that.
However, now she's saying that if she is confirmed as a director of national intelligence, she will somehow uphold Americans' Fourth Amendment rights while simultaneously maintaining Section 702. And this, of course, came after she was threatened by the Senate, saying that if she does not change her views, they will not confirm her. Now, Tulsi, you are the one who said that you cannot protect Americans' Fourth Amendment rights while simultaneously upholding 702. You did so much research and were so confident in this fact that you literally introduced a bill because of it. And now you're saying that you're somehow going to protect the Fourth Amendment of Americans while maintaining the very policy that was created to infringe upon it? Bruh, come on, for real. And what does it say about the United States government that the moment that a politician says that they want to protect Americans, they actually threaten them for doing so? Last I checked, Congress people were elected to protect Americans. But once again, we're seeing a pattern that Congress and the establishment are actually working actively against Americans' best interest. And another note that has to be mentioned is Trump's very loud silence about the fact that his Republican Senate was going to refuse Tulsi the DNI position because she wanted to uphold Americans' constitutional rights. And this is not a man who is known for being silenced in disagreement. And truth be told, he's not all that silent about protecting the allies that he handpicked himself. So effectively, the U.S. Senate, that is a Republican Senate, is reminding Trump and all of his allies that they are in fact the ones who run the government, and they will decide what's constitutional and what is not. And Trump really has no say. Because make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, the DNI position is probably the most important, or one of the most important positions that a president can pick that will influence both international and domestic policy. And if the Senate is basically telling Trump, yeah, you're not going to control what that DNI can and cannot support, then how much control does he really have over that administration? And if Tulsi is going to keep flip-flopping on positions more than Brazilian footwear in the summertime, how can anybody trust that she will actually be a DNI any different than the previous DNIs? MAGA, where y'all at? Y'all gonna keep letting this shit slide, or are we gonna start holding Trump accountable at some point?
No. That's so silly.
Yep. It's amazing how she did that turnaround on basically everything.
Well, it says it all there when they said that when they told her you better change your tune if you want to get nominated, and then she's like, "Well, time to change the tune because I want to get nominated." Right? I mean, that's power. Was it the head of the DNI like that? That's some big power right there, and flip flopping too, right? I don't know if she's saying just giving Republicans what they want to hear, just so she can get in there and say, all right, now I'm going to do things my way, or if she's just falling in line, just like the rest of them. I think she's probably falling in line, just like the rest of them. So,
I think she's just an opportunist. I mean,
she is.
yeah. I mean, I first heard of her in 2012 when she got elected to Congress from Hawaii, and she was kind of looked upon as the heir to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, because she was considered the normie Democrat that was opposed to. They at that time they thought Democrats were just going to rule America to the end of time. And so she was going to be the Democrat after Hillary Clinton's second term. So according to them, we were supposed to see President Tulsi Gabbard be nominated next week in a few days. That was their game plan. Well, she saw Bernie doing very well, and she was correct. DNC and Hillary Clinton were cheating against Bernie Sanders, and she came out with that. And she resigned from the DNC she was a vice chair, I think she was at the time, and then she went Bernie adjacent for a few years, and then Hillary called her a Russian asset and all of this sort of thing, and then the Republicans were reluctant, but they were like, "There, you're a soldier, you're a veteran. We like that about you. We're gonna defend you from those mean old Democrats." And I think that she just loved their attention, and she just went over to their side, and that's where a lot of money is from the right wing, and she got offered money, and she's right wing now.
Again, well, the Republicans got the trifecta, right? The House, the Senate, and the White House, and it's better to be the truck wheels than what's under the truck wheels, right? So she's just following in line. I just made that little analogy up, by the way. I don't think that's a real thing, the truck wheels thing, but it sounds good. But the point is, she's an opportunist. She's seeing an opportunity for herself, and she knows she's got a little bit of cachet with some of these people in the Republican Party, like you said, because she's a active duty, military. They love that stuff because their military industrial complex buddies are getting a lot of boatload of money, and so are they.
And
how
she's
that works.
attractive.
And she's attractive, yes. And that's a Republican thing too. It's just that whole part of that whole high testosterone type thing. That's why you see all these women on Fox News that just look like the Bob Barker's helpers there on The Price is Right there. Turning cards. And then there's a thing. And I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm just saying they are eye candy on there for a reason, because of Republican males are that they'll be more attracted to that, right? But it's just all this propaganda and stuff like that. It's just, what's good now is that people are starting to see through it a little bit, slowly but surely. Which is better than not at all, which used to be back in our day when we were totally snowed in. I mean, not you. You're like super smart. You always knew what was up. I was kind of dumb and watching cartoons and shit, so. But I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel duped with Tulsi. I mean, I gave her $10 in 2020.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same wash, rinse, repeat. Bernie did the same thing, and now he didn't go right wing, but he didn't exactly fight the power, because with the NWA there, his buddies, fight the power. Remember that, Bernie? And then he just fell over, right? And so she tried running. She got some good zingers in on Kamala Harris at the debate. But other than that, she's just been like kind of riding the fence, kind of wherever the wind goes, right? That's where she goes. Like you said, she's an opportunist, and now all her goodwill and stuff has paid off to where she can get this position. And God knows what she's going to do with it, because like you said, what is she going to do? If she flip-flops so much, who is the real Tulsi, and what is she going to do if she does get the gig?
But one of the best moments in the 2020 campaign was when she politically ended Kamala Harris's campaign very early on, and she did it from the left. And Nico House and Fiorella Isabel were the ones that gave Tulsi Gabbard the political ammunition to knock down Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Nico was pretty close with her. I didn't know if he was, but I was worried about Nico whenever she did start going on this villain arc, because he's a solid dude, and but that's the thing, man. People are changing left and right, and it's just like, I don't know if they're just positioning themselves. Some people know what's going to happen, so they're just kind of getting a position, and that sort of thing. Because I don't know what's going to happen when Trump gets in. I think it's going to be. I'm not trying to be like hyperbolic about it, but I think he's probably going to be a hell of a lot worse than he was the last time, right?
Yes.
Because he knows he doesn't have to. He's not going to get reelected, right? That's his second term, so he's pretty much a lame duck for 4 years, and so he's going to probably do whatever he can probably get away with to fatten his pockets. Because
Have you noticed that the pink pussy hat liberal resistance are a little more passive this time?
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I never suffer from some people. Some of my friends don't like me using the term Trump derangement syndrome, but and I use it sparingly. I have to explain when I use that term. I think that attacking Trump over Russiagate was bullshit then. I think it's bullshit now. Attacking him over dumping ketchup on a steak is bullshit. Stuff like that. Yeah. I don't give a damn. Like when the Republicans attacked Barack Obama for ordering a cheeseburger platter with Dijon mustard. Who gives a fuck?
The tan suit.
Thank you. That sort of thing.
Come on.
That's an issue. I don't.
This culture. They use the culture shit as a distraction all the time, right? To keep you away from the real shit that's going on behind the scenes, where they're all buddy and they're doing the same shit for the same donors, the same elites, right? They know they're part of one big ass machine, and they're just two different, sides of that machine, but it is one solid machine.
Now, I have always I never referred to Trump as the new Hitler, and I don't still. I definitely, without a doubt, Trump has an authoritarian streak to him.
Yeah. I don't know have you ever seen Iron Man? I guess it was Iron Man 2 or 3. I can't remember. But the villain in it was the Mandarin, right? I think he's in the comic books too. So anyway, the Mandarin's on TV, blah 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 blah, saying all this stuff. Sounds like this big ass terrorist. And then behind the scenes, it turns out he was just an actor that was playing a part for his some giant military rich guy. Contractor kind of dude, which I'm not saying that Trump's being paid or anything like that. I think Trump is being manipulated by a lot of people that he actually does trust, right? I'm not talking about the minions that he employs around him as yes men and yes women and stuff like that. I'm talking about the real ones that have his ear and actually do put thoughts into his head. He ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? He's just happened, when you start off with a millionaire father, it's not like, you're going to start off life, doing horribly, but he is just nothing but the sum of a bunch of parts, right? And there's all kinds of parts involved. There's people like his close allies that influence him. Like I said, there's the money interests, the Adelsons, of course. They you could see the strings coming off of him when she's around, because she's up there doing this shit, right? And the same thing with Biden. Biden wasn't even in his own tree anyway, so he had people around him controlling him and stuff like that. And that's where we're at now. If you see in the big cities, like in New York and here in Chicago and like LA, it's all political machines, right? You don't elect somebody, you approve somebody, and then you allow them to be elected or not. And that's where this country is right now. It's all just machines all over the place, and not just the AI shit. It's the political machines.
I totally agree, and everything. Now, Brianna Joy Gray, before the election, she was on. I think she was on the Katie Halper. I don't know if she was on Useful Idiots with Ermite, or she was on the Katie Halper show. She's got two shows. But I remembered just a couple of months ago. But she was talking about her support for her rejection of Kamala Harris, and Katie Halper was playing devil's advocate, sympathetic to what Brianna Joy Gray had to say, and they were talking about things like genocide, and how much worse would it be if you go and vote third party and Trump wins with the genocide? Would it be worse than it would be under Kamala? And the Due Dissidence guys discuss this too, because not Katie Halper and Brianna Joy Gray, but the potential for some kind of a ceasefire and some kind of end, an uneasy end perhaps, but maybe something that could put a stop to the madness that's been going on in Gaza since October 23. Keaton and Russell talks about this. And while I don't like Trump, the fact that he strong-armed Benjamin Netanyahu a little bit was quite surprising.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I said, the Adelsons probably have a very big part in this, not just in controlling Trump, but probably Netanyahu as well, and probably a few others in that elite class as well, in that Israeli Zionist elite.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and you know what? If any of the killing can be put to a stop on, anything is better than what's happening right now. And, other than Benjamin Netanyahu getting arrested, that's probably what I want to see more than anything else. But anyway, we'll let Keaton and Russell talk about it.
This deal came to be through a strong arm move by Donald Trump. And so that is sort of the focus of this piece here. So go ahead, take it away.
All right. The best reporting on this really is Haaretz. And it's funny, you want to see how things get slanted in the American media. In the Wall Street Journal, Trump's fixer that he sent over there that basically told everybody to go get their shine box gets along well with the Israeli delegation. Right. So let's go to the Israeli source, Haaretz. Trump's Mideast envoy forced Netanyahu to accept a Gaza plan he repeatedly rejected.
Sorry about that.
Last Friday evening, Stephen Witkoff, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, called from Qatar to tell Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's aides that he would be coming to Israel the following afternoon. The aides politely explained that was in the middle of the Sabbath, but that the Prime Minister would gladly meet him Saturday night. Witkoff's blunt reaction took them by surprise. He explained to them in salty English that Shabbat was of no interest to him. His message loud and clear. Thus, in an unusual departure from official practice, the Prime Minister showed up at his office for an official meeting with Witkoff, who then returned to Qatar to seal the deal.
See, that's some alpha art of the deal shit there.
You take, yeah. Fucking Sabbath, all right? How much money we give you? How much money we give? You get in that office now.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. I'm not fucking interested in your fucking Sabbath. I mean, that is, look, if you talk about like subtly alpha moves that you can make on a negotiating adversary, call them up, say, we have to meet Saturday night. That's the only time I have Saturday night. That puts them on their heels from moment one.
Yeah. A week before Trump's inauguration, Jerusalem already sees a change in the rules of the game that has broken the deadlock in the hostage negotiations. Unusually, the outgoing Biden administration has let Witkoff lead the process on the grounds that any obligations the United States undertakes will be incumbent on Trump, not on Biden. Witkoff is a Jewish real estate investor and developer who is close to Trump. He doesn't have the background of the kind of people who usually fill diplomatic roles. Quote, Witkoff isn't a diplomat. He doesn't talk like a diplomat. He has no interest in diplomatic manners and diplomatic protocols, says a senior Israeli diplomat who spoke on condition of anonymity. He's a businessman who wants to reach a deal quickly and charges ahead unusually aggressively. In fact, Witkoff has forced Israel to accept a plan that Netanyahu had repeatedly rejected over the past half year. Hamas has not budged from its position that the hostages' freedom must be conditioned on the release of Palestinian prisoners, the easy part, and a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, the hard one. Netanyahu rejected this condition, and thus was born the partial deal proposed by Egypt. Initially, the talk was of a limited humanitarian deal. More and more conditions were slowly appended until it grew into a much bigger proposal with clear outlines: a hostage release, new regional arrangements, and full withdrawal. The Philadelphia corridor, which Netanyahu last summer termed the bedrock of Israel's existence, is part of the deal. At Egypt's request, Israel will fully withdraw from it in the first phase. Now, I'm just going to say there was another follow-up article from Haaretz that dropped today, as scathing about Netanyahu, that claims that Netanyahu's argument that the corridor was so vital to Israel was always a red herring to keep the war going. It's hard to know how Netanyahu feels about this aggressive behavior. While it provides an excuse he can give to his base, he may resent being dragged into an unwanted deal that will end the war and possibly lead to political upheaval at home. His propaganda machine is pushing the no-choice narrative that it's Trump. On Monday, laments began to be heard on Channel 14 that Trump isn't what we thought. I'm surprised all the senior officials in the U.S. administration are saying the same thing, Yotam Zimri said on the Patriots program. Quote, if this doesn't happen by the time Trump comes in, Hamas will understand what hell is. I don't understand the Israeli interest and at least not waiting for Trump. Yenan Magal answered, it's because Trump is pressing to do it. That's what's happening. So this is how sick a society this is. You've got this person saying, why don't we wait for Trump? He promised hell. He promised hell on that. They haven't suffered enough hell yet. They haven't suffered enough hell. Let's hold out.
Yeah, no, they were all excited that he won. We knew they wanted him to
bring hell.
Win.
Yeah,
right.
Zimri. So all his people have been lying. It's a big disappointment. Magal. He talks about hell, and in the meantime, sends his envoy to sign a deal. It's a deal whose impact will be very difficult. That's the truth. He added that the last remaining hope is that Hamas will reject a deal. Quote, a cabinet minister told me we need to pray again that God will harden Pharaoh's heart.
Wow.
Yes, if anyone familiar with the biblical story, the Pharaoh kept wanting to make a deal, and God, to make a point, would use his Jedi mind trick on him to make him not make a deal. Monday morning, another Netanyahu mouthpiece, Jacob Bardugo, said the pressure Trump is exerting right now is not the kind that Israel expected from him. The pressure is the essence of the matter.
Well, what did we say in the last? Sorry to pause this for a minute, but what did we say in our last segment, which we just dropped today as a clip, when Trump shared that video of Jeffrey Sachs? We said he probably wants to make a deal before he's sworn in,
right?
Because he sees this whole thing.
He doesn't want to own it
as a giant liability. And at the time, it didn't look like that was going to do anything. But apparently, times have changed.
Times have changed. They sent a fixer. They sent a New Yorker. Case in point, Israeli media is crystal clear. This is from Mohammed Shahada, put this together. All it took to get a ceasefire deal done was pressure from Trump on Netanyahu, who folded immediately. Biden refused to do that for 15 months.
Yep.
As a Saudi diplomat told me, Biden considered any pressure on Israel as tainting his legacy. Wow.
It just goes to show you how inflexible they are in their thinking. It's truly, in that sense, it really is the banality of evil, because they just saw support for Israel as being non-negotiable, permanent, inevitable, unchangeable, unconditional. This is the way things have to be, and so we have to pursue this course. And what we're seeing now is that actually the United States held the cards all along, and this war continued for all this time because Biden
the country couldn't exist without us.
Of course.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Warren?
Yeah, he's exactly right. You know, if they Biden had the purse strings the whole time. All he had to do is he didn't even have to bring the New Yorker in there. He could have said, "Hey, look, you're going to need to stop this. Otherwise, all this money we're gonna stop sending to you." The only part about that is, though, Biden would have had to dealt with a Congress that's equally bought by AIPAC in order to do that. So this, I don't know if Trump is not afraid of AIPAC. It just seems like Trump just don't give a fuck. So he sends his guy to say, "Hey, look, we got to get this done," because I think it's about image too, right? I don't think Trump wants to come in on January 20th on Monday and still have to deal with no ceasefire, right? At least with the ceasefire, I think the ceasefire would last. It's supposed to like 45 to 60 days, I think, is how long these ceasefires last. But I mean, you can have a permanent ceasefire. I think that's what happened in Korea. They never really officially ended the war. They just they have a ceasefire since the 50s.
Yeah.
So you may see something like that. But again, like I said, this is really going to depend on what the widow Adelson thinks about this too. Now he's saying all this stuff now, maybe trying to get this deal done. But if she sticks her nose in and says then he'll flip like Tulsi Gabbard flip flops, right? But if she is given the green light to this, then what are the implications there, right? What is her angle when it comes to this stuff? Her and others like her who have a piece of Trump,
Yeah, the last president that really challenged Israel was Dwight Eisenhower over the Suez Canal crisis in 1956. That's a piece of history that people have seemed to have forgotten. I remember during the Obama years, they acted like Obama was like continuously standing up against Netanyahu. I was like, bitch, I wish he was. know?
Yeah, they gin up that rhetoric to make it sound worse than it was.
Yeah. Obama
Miguel,
was a cuck before Netanyahu.
Yeah, Miguel, I'm not quite sure how long the ceasefire is. I thought I saw something about like 45. I could have been reading something wrong about that. So I'm not quite sure on how the length of the ceasefire. I think they're still trying to iron that out as well. All the details and stuff, because they're still saying, like they said, well, one of the things I reported on this morning on Morning Extra, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on YouTube, Braggland, Rumble, and Facebook, about how they had the body of what's his name, Yahya Sinwar, the former Hamas leader's body, right? And Hamas wants his body back, and Israel's like, no, you're not getting this body back, because I think they probably just like burned it up, cut it up in a million pieces, gave them as souvenirs to their Zionist, blood drinking buddies, that kind of shit, But I don't know what this ceasefire is going to look like. I think Israel has been lying the whole time, like they're supposed to have the ceasefire in Lebanon, yet they keep shelling the fuck out of them and keep breaking the ceasefire all the time. I think Israel's just going to do the same thing. I think this is just all for show, and then once Trump gets in there, all hell's going to break loose.
And domestically at home, I fear what's going to happen to free speech as a result of this issue, too, because it's been a big assault on free speech. Another segue, by the way.
Oh, hang on just a second. Desert Man has said that Reagan made him back down too, made Israel back down. But I think that may have been theater too. Maybe not. I don't know, because there was different times back then.
Yeah, there was different times too. Yeah. In some ways, it was more stability then than now. Strangely enough,
Well, you didn't have cable. Well, before, like, you didn't have cable news like in your face like you do now. You had like CNN just coming around, and you didn't have social media either. So you had to rely on your legacy medias, right? Your TV, your magazines, your newspapers, radio, that sort of thing. And now you have like everything in the palm of your hand, like video, text, moments notice you can get news from around the world. Whereas before you had to rely on world correspondents, world reporters that would bring that information to you. Yes, it's definitely like it's instant now. And whereas then is like you kind of had time to kind of mull over the news because it wasn't coming in at a fevered pace,
Yes, exactly. But as I said, I fear for the First Amendment because of this issue, especially since October 23, and again, just that we've been lectured by the right about how everybody on the left, they don't just say some people on the left, they're saying everybody on the left favors censorship, which I know myself. And I have always been, since day one, being on the left, a free speech absolutist. And so I resent being, accused of things that I'm not guilty of, especially by people who themselves, who claim to be free speech alphas, are anything but. And
right.
This Kyle Kalinske video correctly goes after Ted Cruz here, because Ted Cruz is a piece of shit.
Yes, he is.
I remember, y'all, it wasn't too long ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, the right's number one issue that they told us they were all about was free speech. They would not shut the fuck up about free speech and the First Amendment. This is what you heard 24/7.
I don't know why it's buffering like this.
And usually they're examples of how out of whack everything has gotten is, oh my God, look, you had Milo Yiannopoulos was protested when he tried to give a speech at some college, or Ann Cole.
Let me try this again. Sometimes when I scroll it back, it works a second time round. So
I remember, y'all, it wasn't too long ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Apparently not. Sorry.
Whatever it was. The right's number one.
Maybe lower the video quality. What do you got it on?
They told us they were all about was free speech. They would not shut the fuck up about free speech and the First Amendment. This is what you heard 24/7.
Oh, magic circle.
Examples of how out of whack everything has gotten is, oh my God, look, you had Milo Yiannopoulos was protested when he tried to give a speech at some college, or Ann Coulter was deplatformed, or Ben Shapiro was deplatformed. And they tried to build a movement around this anti-social justice warrior approach to politics. In other words, these young college lefties with pink and blue hair and a septum ring, they're the problem in our society. They're so authoritarian and they don't want to hear any dissenting opinions. This was the whole ethos of the online right. This was what the intellectual dark web was about. The Eric Weinsteins and the Sam Harrises and the Joe Rogans. Like, this was they would not shut the fuck up about this. And also, as you all know, they love to have conversations about having conversations. Nobody sucks themselves off more for having conversations than these people. They talk about talking about stuff instead of just talking about the stuff. It's, well, let's have a conversation about having conversations, and we like to agree and disagree, and we like to talk in this highfalutin way where we say nothing, but it sounds like we're saying things, even though we're very clearly saying nothing. Yeah. That's what that whole world was. Well, guess what? It did not take very long at all for this notion of the right as the bastion of free speech, for that to be blown up in everybody's faces, right? First of all, during the George Floyd protests and riots in, I forget the exact number, but it was 20, 30 plus Republican states. They passed these anti-protest laws. You even had, like in Florida, for example, DeSantis signed a bill that like flipped the burden of proof. If a protester got run over by a car, they would act like, oh, well, maybe homie had it coming. Like that was the idea behind it. You also had these anti-BDS laws on the books, which basically means if you boycott Israel, you're going to get $0 in government contracts or government support or zero access to the social safety net. Basically, it made it illegal to criticize Israel at punishment of losing any sort of government support at any level. That's the idea of the anti-BDS laws. So that was already the case. And then we also have, as you all know, Donald Trump has a really long record of despising free speech, despising the First Amendment and the Constitution. I mean, he literally called to terminate all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution over his election loss. The idea was, put me back in there. Fuck the Constitution. I should be back in there. This is what he said openly. He threatened to de-license news outlets that criticize him. He wants to punish flag burning with a year in jail, which is deeply unconstitutional and against the First Amendment. He sued CNN for $475 million for calling his election denialism the big lie. Before he was president, he sued Bill Maher for $5 million over a joke. So you should be understanding now the reality that the right don't actually give a shit about free speech. They use it strategically. They use it strategically to go after the left, but they're hypocrites. They don't hold themselves to the same standard. And there's 1,000 examples of it right there. Now, I did not foresee just how brazen they would get with their love of authoritarianism on certain issues, right? So here's Ted Cruz. He went to America Fest. Now, by the way, this
America Fest,
this TPUSA Charlie Kirk event, this is like MAGA Central, right? Cenk Uygur was at this event, and Charlie Kirk asked Cenk Uygur, what about the left's hatred of freedom of speech? How do we get the left to be for freedom of speech again? And then Cenk gave some answer about how we need freedom of speech for the people who are marginalized the most in society. That's why we have to defend freedom of speech. Trans people need freedom of speech. Muslims need freedom of speech. Racial minorities need freedom of speech. That's sort of the answer he gave. And I was pulling my hair out specifically because if you're asked about free speech at a TPUSA event, you cannot let Charlie Kirk get away with pretending like the right is in favor of free speech when they are 1,000,000% against it, as evidenced by the things I already mentioned in this video, right? Well, anyway, here's Ted Cruz at the same event. Look at how excited he is to brag about destroying the First Amendment completely. And of course, take note what issue he wants to destroy it over. Here we go.
We will enforce the law, especially against universities across this country. The anti-Semitic protests we've seen at universities will end next year. If you violently protest, if you threaten your fellow students, you will be arrested, you will be expelled, and if you're a foreigner, you will be deported.
None of that ever happened. Nobody was threatened. None of that happened.
And we're going to see the Department of Justice and the FBI follow the money, go after the money, cut off the money. We're going to see universities that tolerate anti-Semitism having their federal funds cut off. And when your fellow students look around and say, hey, why didn't this happen before? Why did everyone look the other way at the violence and the threats and the hatred and the bigotry?
Because there's none.
You're going to be in a position to tell them.
So here's what he really means by that. If you have protests on college campuses that are against the genocide, that are critical of Israel, that say things like free Palestine and from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, they are going to define that as violent threats. They're going to define that as anti-Semitism. And they're going to do whatever they can, expel students, suspend students, have the university crack down on it, have the police crack down on it. If you're a foreigner, deport you, cut off the money to these universities, their money that they need to these universities because they allowed free speech and allowed protest against Israel. This is what he's saying. He's saying in order to protect Israel, we will ban free speech. You are legally allowed on U.S. campuses to protest the United States of America. You can go out there and scream about the Iraq war, for example, and say how evil and wrong and terrible that is. You can go out there and protest some economic policy from the Trump administration. You can go out there and say whatever about our country, our government. But if you go out there and you say free Palestine, you go out there and you chant about how Netanyahu is doing a genocide and the IDF are doing a genocide, they will declare it violent hate speech. They will declare it anti-Semitism, and they will take away your free speech rights, take away your First Amendment rights, destroy the Constitution in the process, and it's all to serve AIPAC and the Israel lobby. This is Ted Cruz telling the Israel lobby, I'm still with you, and send me another check for my next election.
Yep.
I'm so with you, I will destroy the U.S. Constitution to protect you and to get another check from you. Remember, Ted Cruz sued to get more money in politics. Remember that? He had a case go all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won, by the way, about getting more money in politics. That's how corrupt he is. He did a court case to allow more corruption. And here he is, and this is the logical endpoint of everything he did. The logical endpoint is fuck the Constitution, fuck the First Amendment, fuck free speech. We love Israel. Any even mild critique of Israel, we're going to define as violence. We're going to define as hate speech. We're going to define as anti-Semitism. And by the way, on top of being authoritarian, this is also right-wing wokeness, isn't it?
Thank you.
Because I thought you should be allowed to say whatever you want to say about whoever. You should be allowed to say mean things about black people and Hispanic people and immigrants and women. But, oh, would you look at that? The second the target is Israel, all of a sudden, that's not allowed. Now we got to cut off your money. Now we got to deport you. Now we got to crack down on the protest. Now we got to arrest you. What else is there to say? What else is there to say about this? This guy is shameful. He's shameful, to say the least. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time.
Stop it. Him and his mom.
Okay, in fairness, maybe once a week or twice a week, he still has it in him to have a good commentary like that. He's not wrong.
No, I agree with everything he said. He's exactly right. You know, it's not even Ted Cruz. That wasn't Ted Cruz talking. That was AIPAC's hand jammed up his ass and saying all that shit, because that's what they want. They don't want you criticizing Israel, because that means you're coming after AIPAC too. No, fam, we can't have that. But yeah, there is a big hypocrisy on the right when it comes to free speech, and for some of them on the right, I have to be fair, because I know some of my constitutional conservatives who are not down with any of this bullshit like this, because they see that. I mean, the First Amendment is just as important as the Second Amendment, right? I mean, and the Fourth Amendment.
Alex Jones, with all the problems I have ideologically with Alex Jones might be the only person on the right that have actually defended people's rights on the left when they're free speech. I wouldn't expect it from Rush Limbaugh types or a Sean Hannity or a Ben Shapiro type. They never advocate when the left, they don't even acknowledge the left's rights when they're violated. Occasionally, Alex Jones would. from time to time. That's probably the only nice thing I will say about his ideology. Sometimes Alex Jones would, but any other time, you're not going to hear that from the right.
Well, I mean, with Alex Jones too, he was he got on my radar when he was going after the people who were lied about 9/11, and I often wonder, what happened to him? Do you think they got to him and made him cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Or is he just a puppet where he says things where, kind of like the devil mixes truth with his lies, to make everything he says sound believable? I
think he made a lot of money off of just right-wing conspiracies. It's a gold mine. So, he took the Hillary Clinton conspiracy theory about Obama being a secret Kenyan-born Muslim. And a lot of them too fucking stupid realize that's where the conspiracy came from. It was dreamt up by Hillary Clinton. And so he was the one saying, Obama, birth certificate. But then he was there also saying Occupy Wall Street, people being persecuted by the cops and the government, just kind of like, okay.
Well, I mean, the two can be true at the same time. Obama could be doing all that shit, and the oppression could be doing that too. For the Occupy Wall Street, because I remember that. I remember the march down Wall Street too, back in it was 2010, I believe. And he was down there too, not too long after 9/11, like you said, doing that stuff. So I don't know. I think Alex Jones is a useful idiot who's allowed to say the truth sometimes, like I said, to get people to like, oh, hey, to bring him in, and then use him in other ways to manipulate them with the propaganda too. So
ever tell you I had a hilarious nightmare once about Alex Jones?
Oh no.
Yeah, it was 2018. I came home from work, and I usually just go online or what have you, and I just happened to have my laptop. I was just because I'm an online news junkie or whatever, and just happened to be on autoplay, and I was working like second shift. This is before I got my night job, and I drifted off to sleep. And apparently it just went into an Alex Jones video.
Oh no.
And I was in Texas and I was wearing a Bernie Sanders t-shirt.
Uh-oh.
And he looked at me and he had a lot of rage in me. And I was like, oh shit. I had a Bernie Sanders t-shirt. I said, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. And he ran toward me like he was going to just, like his head was down.
He's trying to headbutt you?
Yeah.
Like a goat.
Yeah, he was going to go kick my ass. And then he ran right around me and he shouted, move out of the way. I'm trying to say this republic. And then I woke up. And there was Alex Jones on the computer screen. I was like, oh.
Oh shit! What did you eat before you went to bed, Willie? Jesus Christ!
I don't know. Something from Subway that I do know, but
man,
I woke up and I was laughing. I was like, "This is." I said, because he was going, and I happened to hear it. It was because it was just on autoplay and just playing random, and it just happened to go on Alex Jones.
Well, you said he ran behind you. I thought he was going to like sniff your hair and go, you look good in my basement. Oh no, yeah, time to wake up. Oh, real world, come back. Yeah, so oh man, that's awesome. You need to remember what you ate and then do it again. See if you get a return trip.
Yeah, I laughed about it too. I just like, I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, wow.
Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah, that sounds like some sort of 80s dreamscape movie where somebody got in your head and put Alex Jones in there to come after you. I love my wife. I like eating meat.
Yeah, I used to watch him just for shits and giggles because he was just, I mean, and occasionally I'll listen to him on Twitter. He has a show on Twitter. I'll listen to whatever he has to say just to get a little laugh out of him because he's a clown to me. I don't take him seriously.
When you don't take him seriously, yeah, it's he is just he's just off his nut, right? But then you got to remember, though, he probably is a tool being used by somebody for nefarious reasons, because there's always propaganda circulating, and if somebody's popular enough, they're going to get to them, whether it's your Russell Brands or your Joe Rogans or whoever it is. Somebody's going to get to them and say, hey, look, you're way too popular with the things you're saying. We're going to need to
Russell Brands turned out to be a big disappointment.
I don't know. I just don't trust anybody with that many followers telling that kind of truth on YouTube and not getting kicked off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the only one. That's not my theory. I've heard that theory too. Like, why has he not been kicked off YouTube? Why are they letting him do this? Like I said, maybe he's part of the thing. You have your truth tellers, right? You have your truth tellers out there, and then you have the real shit going on behind the scenes. So running. Not necessarily running cover, but just kind of like compartmentalized, they don't know what this person's doing. They don't know what this person's doing. And that way that you don't pin a conspiracy on anybody, because nobody knows each other in that regard.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all crazy and everything. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, some of it, I mean, I could look at it for entertainment purposes and not be, as I said, I'm less offended by Alex Jones than I am, let's say, Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Sean Hannity can actually influence people. Little Ben Shapiro, who can't get his wife wet,
he couldn't get her wet if he threw her in a swimming pool.
Yeah, you're right about that.
She's very dry in her nether region, is what we're trying to say. It's like sand dunes, right? There's camels walking across there. I know there's a camel toe, right? But and then there's like beach towels and there's an umbrella. Yeah, it's very sandy. It's very sandy down there.
Oh boy, yeah,
that hurts.
He said that in front of everybody. I was like, wow.
My wife's not wet. She's very dry downstairs. Downstairs, I go down there. Whenever I need sandpaper, I just use my wife's vagina. Yum, 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 yum. I'm Cookie Monster.
What the fuck that guy is?
Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
Hey, sidebar for just a second. There's that conservative chick that used to work for him. I don't think she works for him anymore, but she looks just like him, right? And I always thought that was him in drag. I can't remember her name. You know who
Abigail.
Yeah, is that you never see them in the same room together? You think it's the same person?
Well, let me put it this way. When he did his little thing on the Barbie movie, and when he was doing his thing on the Barbie movie, he burned some Barbie dolls. I think he was just pretty much trying to hide the person he really was growing up.
You think? And now he's the other chick. He's like that. I think because because you can edit. If you time it out right, you can make it sound like a conversation. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, they kind of look a lot like. At least they could have been separated at birth as like brother and sister at the very.
No, I think they're two separate people. But I do think what I said about the Barbie dolls. I do think he played with Barbie dolls when he was growing up. Doesn't mean I think he's gay. I don't think he's gay. I just think he played with Barbie dolls.
Repressed. He was in Republican households growing up. There is a lot of repression because of those conservative norms and rules, and they want you to be, disciplined in certain ways, whereas other people would be a little more lenient, that sort of thing. And so you repress people like that, and then they finally get to be whoever they want to be, and they don't know how to do it right, and they just go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and start acting crazy.
Actually, his parents are Democrats.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, it could be. It could.
Alex
shoving
Keaton,
that liberal message down his throat, and he said, "Fuck that." But instead of being normal about it, he went the other way, and now he's on the other end of the spectrum just to fuck him.
Yeah, so I'm sort of thinking Alex Keaton from Family Ties.
Right. Yeah. That's perfect. That's a perfect analogy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking from that TV show. Yeah. So I was just finding out about that, and but as I said, for him to do the video on the movie Barbie and make a big deal out of it, and then he has to go make a dig at the trans community and talking about he doesn't want to hear somebody that's supposedly a woman that has a deeper voice than he does, and
that's every woman. What the fuck's he talking about?
He up here like I like to talk like you.
And then glasses break and shit like that because the frequency's too fucking high. Only dogs can hear it.
She One Head basically said, Ben, I have a deeper voice than you. Everybody has a deeper voice than you.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I know some high voice chicks too, and they make it, he'd make them sound like a baritone, man. Just like, and he talks in his nose too, and it's like that nasally shit. Oh, that's the word. You just want to punch him in his nose because that's where you think the voice is coming from. Maybe he'll shut up if you punch him in the nose. Now, I'm not advocating violence, kids. I'm just saying, there's a lot of black ice out there, and he may slip forward and boom, right in the nose, and oh no, he can't talk anymore. Jesus Christ, what are we gonna do now? What do you have to say? Oh, okay, he's done. All right, that's
but you know what? He will, someone like him, and no, I would never call for anybody being canceled or banned, but he's one person that social media will not ban. But
no.
But I got suspended from Twitter for 12 hours, and it's not his fault.
Sinner.
But I basically said you can't get your wife wet, and 2 seconds later, 12 hours, I was suspended from Twitter.
That truth hurts, man. It stings. They don't want to hear the truth, man, that you can't, make the little lady pool downstairs, when it's closed for the winter. That's what it is down there because there's no humidity at all. So, maybe if he's one of those, if I was an alpha, I'd say he's one of those low T guys. You know what I mean? He's low T. You know what I mean? So he has to make up for it by being a little bitch.
Yeah, definitely he is that. So but anyway. Oh, speaking of Shoe on Head a couple of minutes ago, did I ever show you my Shoe on Head plushie?
I've seen it on your show a few times, Willie.
Yeah.
You should do a show separate, just you, and then that doll's your co-host, right? And you have like celebrity guest voices for her, or if you could get Shoe on Head herself to do it, she might do it. It's just as a voiceover. You never know. We can make those dreams come true, Willie.
Yeah. I should. You know what? I need to get her on my show. You think she'll come on my show?
Of course. She loves you. I'm sure she does. She feels your aura across the universe, man. Who doesn't? I keep telling you, you're the Vulcan ambassador in this space, Willie. You know what I'm saying? Live long and fucking prosper, dude.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Exactly. So what's your birthday plans this week?
Well, it's my birthday week, right? So on Sunday, I had a mani-pedi. On Monday, no. So I don't do like the birthday weeks. I know that's not what you're saying, but I know some people that are just like, it's my birthday month, And so I wanted to do this year. I said, I want to do it's my birthday year, where every day is my birthday, and then next year we do it again. So basically, every day is my birthday for the rest of my life. But unfortunately, I'm spending my birthday here in your beautiful state of North Carolina at work at Titty Mountain. I know it's probably 8:35 maybe, but I don't know why the sun's still out. But it's like some sort of geographic anomaly. We don't have to think about it. So I have to guard Titty Mountain for my birthday. But it's not a job. It's a labor of love and a little bit of lust too, because I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of aroused by the mountain back there, Willie. I'm probably, you didn't want to hear that, did you?
Oh no. As I said,
I'm really sorry.
Everything's out in the open here.
Wait a minute. That's what you do. You blow on it, you go, oh, you like, oof. And then the little things around. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm being silly.
No, don't worry.
But I'm serious about getting Shoe on Head though. Let's work on that. Let's get her on there because that would be awesome to see her on here.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, there's several people I've been. There's several big names I've been kind of. See, the biggest name I've had on the show was Scott Ritter.
Yeah, I remember we had Scott Ritter on there.
Yeah, that was and that had 5,000 views too. So that was that was like the closest thing to a viral video I've had. I went to sleep that afternoon, and when I got up, it was like 1,200 views. I'm like, holy cow!
Well, I mean, he makes the circuit around, some of the bigger channels there. So, he's very, well known in the space. So, you say you're going to have him on the show, the crew comes running for that kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know how people feel about him personally. Some people don't like him, some do like him, but I think as long as we're still having these conversations in the space, it's what it's all about. We're going to disagree on some stuff, and people are going to get called out for not being who they are, like you said earlier. And because we have to make things before we can move anywhere forward, we have to make things transparent, because people need to be able to trust other people. If they don't trust other people, they're not going to communicate, and they're definitely not going to work with them.
I got to plug my computer. Give me 2 seconds.
Is that like some sort of sex code? Because Willie, I know I was talking about Titty Mountain, but I didn't think it was going to go to that level. Folks, have you ever had a dry vagina? Let me tell you about this new cream. Oh, Willie's back. Okay, welcome back.
Yeah. It only took 2 seconds there. Snipe Hunter said, "Happy birthday."
Hey, Snipe Hunter, thanks. Everybody else wished me, and Kate too, and everybody wished me happy birthday. Kate told me this morning she was going to spank me. But she it doesn't have to be my birthday, baby. You know what's up. I could leave this titty anytime. I could leave it anytime. I mean, but still. Okay, all right. Anyway, but thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. So
yeah, there's actually let's see. So about twice a year I drive by Titty Mountain.
I love Titty Mountain. Let me get over there. Oh, look at that. That's divine. Oof.
And then
just
on the other
proportionate side, too.
On the other side is Mount Airy or Mayberry.
Wow.
Of that mountain.
In all seriousness, that is just beautiful country up there. And for the people of North Carolina in the western part of the state to get just fucked over by our government after just getting devastated by all the hurricanes that went through there, it's just, and I know country people too, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, they don't understand what's going on in the world. A lot of times it's just easier for them to just believe and to go along and get along with the others. But at the heart, they're very good people, and they will, if you ask for help, they'll help you, right? And so now they need help, and then they just got fucked over. So shout out to North Carolina and all the peeps there. You too, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And the people in Asheville, what they're going through, what they have been through with that flood and everything, and just a terrible situation. So, anyway.
I've been through several hurricanes, so I know how people pull together too, right? And you probably have too, right?
Oh gosh, yes,
yeah. Coming in from those Atlantic hurricanes, man, or you get those crossovers like we had. The one that crosses over Florida and then it goes right up the East Coast, man. It's,
there have been a few over the years in North Carolina. Fran and Floyd was pretty bad in the 1996 and 2000.
Yeah. And these storms are just getting worse and worse because the water in the Gulf, particularly, and then the South Atlantic is getting hotter and hotter. I think they said we just passed the 1.5 degrees Celsius raise in temperature mark that I think if you go past that, there's no going back. And I'm not talking about the hoaxes and people making money off of like green energy and stuff like that. I'm talking about the actual earth changes that are happening, whether that are being accelerated by man-made forces, but we have to recognize that these natural things are happening. I keep telling people about this big ass ice sheet down in Antarctica called, I think it's called Thwaites Ice Shelf. And if that thing breaks off, it's not in the water right now. It's above the water line. and it's the size of Florida. It's fucking huge. This thing is about to break off from Antarctica and go into the ocean, and then that's going to make the sea levels rise. So I mean, not like dramatically, but it's definitely going to probably cause some damage along some of the coasts for sure.
Yeah, you think that they'll be able to do something about it. Several countries could collaborate.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can do about the ice shelf. It's just way too fucking big. But what they have to do is they're going to have to shore up the infrastructure inland and start moving people away from the coast. But people just I'm a coast rat myself. I lived near the Gulf Coast. I grew up near there. I've lived on the East Coast near the Atlantic. I've lived on the West Coast near the Pacific. Now I live near the Great Lakes. I love being near the water, and it's hard to pry people away. People who do love the water like that, it's hard to pry them away, even when they've been battered by hurricanes and stuff. That's just part of the life, and they can't conceive the fact that these seas are going to rise and ruin their cities on the coast. They just can't fathom it.
No, they can't. And
see, fathom. I said fathom because it was a sea reference. I didn't mean to, but I just want to point that out. So
yeah.
But yeah, they're not going to move, and when they do, it's going to be too late, and we're not doing anything about it. Like here in the United States, we're not trying to shore up what's going on. They're leaving it up to these individual cities. Some people are putting up seawalls. Anyway, it's a whole thing. I'm sorry.
No, it's something to think about and everything. So I take it Morning Extra will be on Friday, right?
Yes, this Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. I say specific instead of Pacific because I like to say spaghetti as Paschetti too. Yeah, so and a programming note next week, next Wednesday, my buddy Kevin Sandblum, everybody knows him from Black Bear News, right? He's going to be on Extra Bull Alive. We're going to be talking. He's out there in LA. He just his house burned down. His house was in the Eaton fire, which is devastating houses out there in LA, with the Palisades fire too. Those are the two main ones. There's another one that just started, I think, I can't remember what it said it was, but yeah, it's very, very small, but I think they'll be able to contain that one. But he's going to be on and he's going to talk about his experience, what he went through out there. And he's back on the air. He's been doing his show recently. After it happened, I think he's got some place to stay. So, and he's been talking about it, but we're going to get a little bit more into it and hopefully have some more information about because these fires are not getting contained out here. I mean, they're both these huge fires that are well under 50% contained. So, yeah. And those winds aren't going to let up either. Those Santa Ana winds, they're not going to let up. It's crazy. It's a perfect storm of hell for them in Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, and I had a story I was going to share on that from Second Thought about it because the privatized water is really a lot to do with what's been going on. What would they call it? The Resnicks, the billionaire.
Yeah, the Resnicks. Yeah.
They
own like 60% of the water or something ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's not a wake up call about billionaires having too much power. I don't know what will be. Now, I do believe that Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass handle it badly. Absolutely, but not just them, but this billionaire couple also played a role too. But yeah, nobody's wants to blame the billionaire couple.
No. I mean, they're talking about these tanks like in the Palisades. They had like 3 tanks that were like 1 million gallons a piece, and there's also a reservoir that's about a mile away from where the Palisades fire started. It's been drained. It's been empty for months because they've been repairing this filter tarp that they have over it to keep like leaves and bird shit out of the water. But they've been fucking around, and you know how contractors are. They're kind of trying to milk a job for as much time as possible, and it costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix this thing. But it's also at the same time the reservoir is empty. It's bone dry. If that reservoir had not been empty, they could have at least probably contained the fire somewhat a lot better. But bone dry. I mean, whose fault was that? That's the city's fault. That's a Karen Bass issue, right? I mean, that's the thing. You have all this bureaucracy, and now you're seeing like they're trying, like some of these groups are trying to get a rent moratorium because these fucking greedy ass cocksucker landlords out there jacking up the prices and price gouging people. It's insane. Hotels too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just, I don't know what the answers are, but I hope that the people in California, everything gets resolved as quickly as possible. And,
amen, brother.
Yeah,
they need some relief. Because the thing about the winds, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but like when you have a fire and you have these strong, I mean, these were gusts of up to 100 miles an hour. Can you imagine like if shit's on fire and then a fucking tornado shows up, right? That's what it's like. And what it does, it takes these embers and blows the embers so far ahead of it. It's just like Johnny Appleseed spreading the embers and then causing. That's why this fire is being so hard to contain, because like they'll get to one spot and then they look around and then something else is burning. It's like a fucking Three Stooges shit.
Yeah. Oh, Max RJ says here, for some reason, my notifications never notify me for the Willy Bragg show. And I want to apologize to Max RJ. I don't know why it's not doing that, but I think it's a glitch on the part of YouTube.
Yeah, when you subscribe, make sure the bell is solid white, because it's not just a racist thing. That's so you get all the notifications too. But even then, if you say, well, yeah, I got the solid white bell, which who doesn't? Even I think there's a fuckery afoot because of because you're a radical dude, man. They can't have you be spreading this all this good truth and shit to people, So that's why they trying to keep your peeps away from the show, and that ain't cool. YouTube, you Nazi assholes.
Yeah, we're all shadow banned. I mean, we're all. I mean, we should be. You and I and other content makers, we should be at several thousand. I mean, we should be.
I don't bathe regularly, so I can understand why my numbers are low. But there's no excuse for that. Yeah, you are definitely being shadow banned. But even so, you're kind of creeping up with your, you get followers here, subscribers here and there too. So it may be a little bit, but they ain't shutting you out 100%, which is good, brother. So, and that's why you have pals like me and others in the space who spread the word about Willy Bragg and make sure everybody knows that's what we got to do. We got to tell everybody. We got to get it. We got to tell the normies too. That's why I do my show on Facebook as well, because I get some people on there that watch the news shows that I do that normally wouldn't be watching it, and they're kind of sneaking in. A little creeping in at a time, and then I'll see somebody go, hey, they'll like the show or something on there, so it's, I'm not saying it's the kind of the rate I'd like to see more and more people get involved, but it's better than nothing happening at all. I'd rather have just a little bit than the nothing,
Yeah, I do my show on Facebook too now, Yeah. So. Yeah,
it's good. I mean, because there's still a lot of people there that are so brainwashed, and they need people like us to help them understand that they are being brainwashed, right? And that we need to help them snap out. Because a lot of those people on Facebook, we love those people. A lot of those people are really cool people, but like I said, they just get sucked in. They drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and they never got over that feeling. And they'd rather be comfortable in their bubbles than get outside and the uncertainties and the unknowing, which is like, I guess I can't blame some of them for staying inside, but at the same time, that's not healthy. You can't do that. It's very unhealthy.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to pay extra to go on, do this on Twitter, because Twitter is on its way out. So, blue sky all the way for me now. I mean,
are you not on the red note yet? Have you gotten on the red
what
note?
is red note?
The red note? Oh yeah, I saw your little post on Facebook. Yeah. So it's basically just Chinese Instagram, but it's set up for the Chinese people, right? It's not really designed for like this influx of honky lips like you and me coming in there, right? But from my experience, I got an account. I think I got an account yesterday, right? And I did it on the phone, and it's a little, old man yells at cloud, because you got to make sure, because you sign up with your phone number and you have to make sure you get the right country code in there. And so you go in there, and it's kind of the same thing. You got your profile and stuff. But even though a lot of it's in English, a lot of it is in Chinese too, right? Mm-hmm. So some of it, you're like, I think I got some sort of alert or something. It was all in Chinese and wouldn't let me translate or whatever. So apparently you got to learn Chinese to know some of it. But I'll tell you this, I got on there and I put just my profile picture up there. And all these Chinese people are just like, hey, what's up? Just like, welcome. And they were like, giving me this information, how to use the app and kind of the things, what to do, what not to do. Because it's the Chinese government that's watching it. And so there's going to be some censorship for sure. But the thing that it has over TikTok at this point is going to be availability. And people don't give a fuck about their data when they can post their tiki-taki type videos and do all that stuff with the filters and the emojis and stuff. So, but, I'm just saying, so far my experience has been positive with it. I've made a couple of Chinese friends over there who are very nice, so I don't know. I told them up straight up. I said, look, I'm here to promote my, my American shows that I have, but at the same time, if I meet some people along the way, that's kind of, this is a nice little bonus too.
Yeah. And, that very true. I'll think about it. I don't want to stretch myself out in too much social media.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you on TikTok?
I have a TikTok account.
Or do you have an Instagram account?
I have an Instagram account. I have all kinds of accounts that I.
But how often do you use the TikTok and the Instagram?
Just to lurk around and see. That's about it.
Yeah, so this would be the same thing. You get on there, you could lurk around, but you're a sexy man, Willie. Those Chinese women, you may find a wife on there. I'm just saying. I'm not predicting the future. I don't have clairvoyance or anything like that. But I know people, Willie. I know you're a good man, and they are looking for good men on that app. It's not a dating app, just to be fair. It's like Instagram. You post pictures, you post videos, all that shit, but it's right now. The difference is it's mostly Chinese because it's just for the Chinese people. It's not that people can't use it from outside China. It's their infrastructure isn't really set up for that mass influx. So there was a lot, like when they announced that, I think on Friday, the Supreme Court didn't make a ruling on the TikTok thing, and they're going to shut down on the 19th, which is Sunday. So a lot of people needed an alternative, and it kind of snowballed with this Red Note thing. And a lot of people, it was like word of mouth. He was like, yeah, Red Note's the new thing. We should go there. And you go over there, and that's like, wait, we're not ready for thousands and thousands or millions of people outside of China to come in. So they may have to accommodate, or, they may tell Americans, fuck off, Chinese only. Who knows? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up because I got to go to work, unfortunately, because I could keep this going on for another hour or two.
Well, I'll tell you what, Willie, we'll get you back on my show again sometime soon.
I would love to.
We'll do it on a night that you don't have to work. Do a marathon.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that.
I want to party with you, cowboy. You remember that from Stripes when he was talking to the guy? Because the guy was like, hey. Stripes. The first half of Stripes is a great movie. The second half is just like, okay, it's not bad, but it's not as good as the first part. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, come see me on Friday morning, morning extra, and then we're doing secret show Saturday night. I didn't do a secret show this past Saturday. I wasn't feeling that great, and I don't like doing shows where I'm like, and I want to put on a good show. So, but we're gonna make up for it this next Saturday.
Saturday, my head was split.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it was. I had to have a mental health day because it was. I was just not in the best shape on Saturday. Oh my God!
Last weekend was like a malady weekend for a lot of people. I know they were just a lot of people that were talking about being sick or something like that. I don't know, man. Maybe we were all on the same mental wavelength, and somebody's fucking with our health, dude.
Yeah, something like that. So, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. If you want to stick around for a moment,
will do, sir.
All right. So everyone, wish Warren happy birthday. He'll be back Friday morning on Morning Extra. I'll put his information down on the description box whenever I get time tomorrow, because I just didn't get a chance to put everything on the description box. Sometimes I procrastinate. So I would just say quickly, thank y'all for showing up this evening. Press like and comment and all of that, and subscribe to the Willy Bragg Show and create your own platform and say that's a free speech absolutist, free Palestine, free healthcare for all, and free speech absolutism for our self-preservation as activists, folks. Y'all take care. I will see y'all again very, very soon.